Spotlight.
This is Akashvani. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you a discussion on Day 4 at Waves, highlights and key takeaways. The participants are Ashish Kulkarni, Chairman of FICCI for Animation, Visual Effects, Gaming and Comics Forum, and Chairman of MCCIA Animation and Gaming Committee, Rajesh Joshi, Venture Partner, and Sonu Sud, Anchor.
The 4-day World Audiovisual and Entertainment Summit Waves 2025 concludes in Mumbai today. Masterclasses on filmmaking and cultural events were the main attraction on the last day of the summit. Inaugurated on Thursday by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the summit with the tagline "Connecting Creators, Connecting Countries" is poised to position India as a global hub for media, entertainment and digital innovation. To discuss the major highlights and key takeaways of the concluding day of this mega event and the entire Waves Summit, we have with us two special guests, Ashish Kulkarni, and our second guest tonight is Rajesh Joshi. Ashish and Rajesh, a warm welcome to you from Akashvani. It's a great pleasure to have you both with us from the place where the summit is happening. And we also have Pratna, our correspondent from Mumbai, who will be taking us shortly. So we'll come to you first, Ashish. We would like to know from you the space that you are so closely connected with, the AVGC space, animation, visual effects, gaming and comics. As I see it, it is the sunrise space within the orange economy. How do you see that is concluding today, the 4-day Wave Summit? What kind of a boost it has given to this segment, this sector?
Actually, Waves has been a real boon to AVGC XR vertical because we recently have announced the Indian Institute of Creative Technologies, which is for animation, gaming, visual effects, comics and XR. And we also signed a lot of MOUs during the Wave Summit. Yesterday, we had a press conference and we signed with major technology companies there. But basically, the whole focus on AVGC XR as an industry within the media and entertainment is significant today. And in the last 2.5 decades, the AVGC XR industry has actually positioned itself very strongly. We do a large amount of work from overseas, which is a services work, and we also create original Indian IPs. Those IPs are now finding their way through the OTT channels and other networks to reach global audiences. And I think this is where we feel that right now we are about 32 to 35% of the total media and entertainment industry. And eventually in the next 7 to 10 years, we will be actually more than 55% of the universe of media and entertainment. So today, whether you make ad films or documentary films or television films or web series or even feature films, visual effects is inevitable. Animation and visual effects is a part of every single creation. And that gives us an entry into every single vertical of media and entertainment. So in the Wave Summit, we had significant portion where we had more than 20 odd sessions out of the 100 sessions that we had focused on virtual production, animation, original Indian content to visual effects and many others. And we have a gaming arcade and arena here. And in the startup arena, we had as many as 70 plus companies from our sector. So this is something which is a big boon, as I said, for the industry. If not in India, we had to always go to either MIPCOM or NAB or different festivals in Singapore or Cannes or in the US. But this is for the first time that we have a large amount of buyers and co-production partners coming into India. And I think this is going to go a long way in building India's contribution to the global media and entertainment ecosystem. Right now, we are 2% of the global industry, but we will be soon be doing somewhere close to 12 to 15%. And that jump will come only because we have created properties like Waves, and the government has focused on creating soft power as a mainstream and giving recognition to the media and entertainment vertical through creating Waves and many other policies. The national policy on AVGC XR is also coming up, and in about 11 states we already have a state AVGC XR policy, and I think that's something which is kind of linking as a hub and spoke growth engine for most of the people in our sector. And Waves actually has given such a huge kind of energy to every single studio who could afford to come here and spend time and look at a B2B, which is a Waves Bazaar. And a large amount of contracts have been signed. We have a lot of co-productions getting signed in the last 3 days. And the Waves Bazaar was a huge hit and a success where more than 4,000 meetings have happened B2B. And I think this is going to result into a large amount of productions and creative energies to flow into successful projects in time to come.
In fact, that is so inspiring. And in fact, the Minister of Information and Broadcasting, Ashwini Vaishnav, talked about the Prime Minister's vision that India can be the global leader in the media and entertainment sector in times to come. Coming to you, Rajesh, you are closely associated with the startup sector, and we'd like to know from you what is the scope of startups in the media and entertainment sector, and what are the future prospects? How do you see the investors in startups being integral part of this journey towards becoming a global leader?
Normally, as investors, we look at sunrise industries, or we look at industries which are going through a bit of transformation, because that's where we as investors bet on those ideas, and that's where we get multiples of our investment. I believe that Indian media and entertainment industry is at a critical turning point because technology is reshaping how content is created, consumed, and even monetized. I think the sector is having very, very deep transformation. And that's why in this moment of change, when a government of India steps in, what has they done with Waves is they have sparked fresh dialogue, they have brought in global collaborations and innovations. And startups are the breeding ground of innovation. We as investors, we look at innovation because that's where your revenue multiples are there, your investment multiples are there. So I think this event is a strategic effort by the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. They are bringing together the full spectrum of the industry, where there are veteran filmmakers and global OTT players to rising Indian media startups, India media tech innovators. This creates an environment where the future of Indian entertainment was discussed, debated, and built together. And we feel that this wave, brought by Waves, the person or the people or the companies which are going to ride it the most are innovators and entrepreneurs and startups. Hence, even we are part of the Wave Accelerator program where 25 plus startups, 30 startups kind of pitched to us as Mr. Kulkarni was mentioning. There was a great startup pavilion there where 70 plus startups, innovators were there with their projects. And the great thing to see was this from metros. We encountered startups from Rajkot, from Dhanbad, from, cities down where tier 2, tier 3 cities. There were no boundaries. Normally, people would talk to each other if they are from a similar city. I spend most of my time on the floor talking to these startups and seeing the interactions. Global OTT platforms are talking to startups based out of smaller towns, by young innovators. So I feel this waves has created ripples, and the next wave is coming through innovation and entrepreneurs and media tech startups.
Coming to you, Pratna, you've been there for 4 days. In the Wave Summit, you have covered everything. Can you tell us what has been the overall business outcome, including the Waves Bazaar, which Ashish mentioned just now?
Yes, Sonu. In limited time, if I have to tell you about the business that happened here at Waves 2025, the inaugural edition of the Waves Bazaar registered a resounding success and recorded business transactions exceeding 800 crores across film, music, radio, VFX, and animation sectors. A key highlight of the Waves Bazaar was the buyer-seller market, which witnessed about 3,000 B2B meetings. I would like to also mention here that the summit saw participation of global tycoons from the industry. Apart from them, I have to talk about the people who were there at the Waves Bazaar. There was Netflix, there was Instagram, there were all big names that we have heard of. We would also like to mention here that 30 startups were given one-on-one pitching opportunities at Wave. If I have to tell you about the key highlights of the overall thing apart from the business, yes, it does begin with Prime Minister's inaugural ceremony speech that took the event to an entire high. Talking about the response from the industry, the themes of Waves Burst 2025 is connecting creators, connecting countries, and Prime Minister appealed to the industry across the globe to choose India as to create content for the world. Echoing Prime Minister's call, all stakeholders of the M&E sector urged the people in one voice to take Indian stories to the global audience and to position India as a global shooting destination. While media globalization, startups in the sector, piracy, the future of content creation, distribution, AI, and metaverse were the main themes of the Wave Summit, the summit also saw focus on preserving our legacy. We had sessions on influence of classical and folk music on Indian cinema, on restoring classics. We had the 10th National Community Radio Awards. In fact, one of the sessions that was focused on digital radio highlighted how the fading analog radio still has relevance in the present time. One of the very interesting sessions that we attended talked about the accessibility in the M&E sector.
Thank you so much, Pratna, for such a comprehensive overview of this 4-day summit. Let's listen to a report on the activities of Wave Summit Day 4 from our correspondent Adarsh.
Today marked the end of an incredible World Summit that has brought global attention and repute to India. Heavy footfall was registered even on the final day today as the Bharat Pavilion and Creatosphere found a loyal audience due to their futuristic and culturally rich stalls. A masterclass was organized on visual effects and film production, followed by workshops and discussions on media startups and AI, social media advertising, and mobile filmmaking, amongst others. Musical performances by Create in India Challenge winners put a spell on the audience, even drawing applause and admiration from Information and Broadcasting Secretary Sanjay Jaju. Mr. Jaju hailed Waves as people's movement. The Wave Summit marked its end by Resonate the EDM Challenge.
Ashish, what would you say if we take the overall picture, the various streams that have been talked about, what kind of a horizon has been opened up for the India media and entertainment industry?
You see, India conducted its world's biggest event that was in Kumbh for almost 2 months. Soon after that, you have so much of content that was created there. And now this Wave Summit, which is probably putting the whole focus on the industry itself. And I think these waves or ripples would actually travel across the globe. We, as I told you, whether it was radio or even the events companies and the complete content creation ecosystem, everything was touched upon and was elaborately discussed. More than 100 plus sessions that were planned. This is the first time India has invested into building this kind of brand called Waves 2025. I'm sure that in time to come, people in the industry will look forward to coming to Waves and making sure that they are a part of the whole creation that exists in there. So I think the industry stakeholders or the government stakeholders and even the counterparts from across the globe, everybody is here. And I think it's going to be significant that these opportunities eventually open up for people to look at co-productions between multiple countries. India presently has co-production treaties with 16 countries and majority of these countries were here. We also have a co-production fund at this point in time. So you will see large amount of products getting kicked off and greenlit over the next few years as we move forward. India has repositioned itself through Waves as the global player which can actually make a difference in the media and entertainment sector. Till now it was a reverse stuff. So I think this is going to be looked into as a very significant start for Indian creative industry to move forward. And rightly so, they are calling it Create in India for the world. It will soon become a norm across the globe.
Thank you so much, Ashish, Rajesh and Pratna for joining us and giving us an overview of Wave Summit 2025, how it has elevated India's stature as a creator within the global media and entertainment landscape.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You were listening to a discussion on Day 4 at Waves, highlights and key takeaways. The participants were Ashish Kulkarni, Chairman of FICCI for Animation, Visual Effects, Gaming and Comics Forum, and Chairman of MCCIA Animation and Gaming Committee, Rajesh Joshi, Venture Partner, and Sonu Sud, Anchor. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of Akashvani. You can listen to it on our mobile app, News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official. You may share your feedback about this program through email at airnsdtalks@gmail.com or WhatsApp on 9289094044.
Spotlight.